Let's move to Romania. Very interesting scenes there today. A rerun of a presidential election in its second round, seen as pivotal for the future direction of the country's foreign policy. And in the aftermath of the first election nearly 6 months ago, which saw a little-known scientist turned ultra-nationalist politician Călin Georgescu win the first round. The result then annulled by the Constitutional Court on the basis that he benefited from a mass propaganda campaign suspected to have been orchestrated on social media and TikTok by Russia. There are two figures this time round, key fighting it out in the second round runoff. We're seeing them both on the split screen. We've got a hard-right populist, George Simeon, who voted today at a polling station with Călin Georgescu, and a centrist anti-corruption candidate, Nicolae Dan. Let's go to Bucharest, to the polling stations in the capital. Let's go to Maria Gerth-Niculescu, a correspondent there. Great to have you on the programme. Maria, first of all, give us a sense of what's been happening today and how the turnout's looking as well.
Well, voter turnout has been very high. It's already higher now, less than 2 hours before polling stations close, than the total voter turnout from the first round 2 weeks ago. So we've seen very strong mobilization here in this polling station behind me. We've had a lot of people come to vote, a lot of young people as well, who are saying that they're quite stressed and worried about the results that are going to come in the first results coming in a few hours. Some are worried that George Simeon, who represents a nationalist, a Eurosceptic candidate, will win. Others hope that George Simeon will bring the change that they want, the change that they think Romania needs, a radical change with which they do not want to compromise. Polling stations will close at 9 p.m. Tonight we'll have the first exit polls a few minutes after that. And, The George Simeon has accused the electoral authority of keeping dead people, thousands of dead people on the list, something that the electoral bureau has refuted strongly. So there have been accusations on sides of George Simeon and Nicolae Dan of potential trials to influence the vote, but other than that, voting has been very calm here in Bucharest, and we've seen high voter turnout in the diaspora as well. The diaspora, who could be a key element for this final result, which might be very, very tight between the two candidates.
Well, we'll look at that, Maria, alongside you as well for our special programme coming up at 8 o'clock Paris time, so just under 2 hours' time here. We'll look at all three elections going on in Poland as well, Portugal today. But let me just ask you to remind us about these two candidates offering a very different vision. So on the one side we have George Simeon, who says he absolutely encapsulates the MAGA ideology of President Trump. And we have his opponent, the Bucharest mayor, Nicolae Dan. He's a Paris-trained mathematician, isn't he? This is kind of both self-styled anti-system candidates, notably as well, aren't they?
Exactly. So both candidates say that they're anti-system in the sense that they are not a member of the main parties that have governed Romania for the past 30 years since the fall of communism. But even though they are ideologically very opposed, we have George Simeon on the one hand. He's a conservative nationalist. He's an admirer of politicians such as Donald Trump or Giorgia Meloni. He's very critical of Brussels. He also wants to stop aid to Ukraine. And then we have Nicolae Dan. He's the mayor of Bucharest. He's seen as a center-right politician. He used to be an anti-corruption activist. He's also a mathematician, and he's seen as much more pro-European, aligned with the values and the policies of Brussels. So they are very opposed, these two candidates, and although they both say that they represent change, they represent a stop from the system that has been dominating Romania's political scene, the choice is of two very different futures for Romania, both within the country but also on the international stage.
Briefly, Maria, we're talking about a country in the EU, NATO, which has the biggest border with Ukraine. Just talk us through how policy towards Ukraine could change depending on the president.
Well, Well, George Simeon says that he wants to stop aid to Ukraine. He also says that he wants to reduce help for Ukrainian refugees. There are a lot of refugees who crossed the border from Ukraine into Romania, and a lot of voters of George Simeon, spread some with disinformation figures that the fact that Ukrainian refugees have been helped too much. So he's kind of aligning himself with what Donald Trump is saying. He wants to achieve peace, and he wants to follow Donald Trump in the peace negotiations, but he doesn't want to fuel the conflict with aid. Nicu Jordan, on the other hand, is more aligned with Brussels on this point. So he does not say that we should stop helping Ukraine, and he is, of course, clearly condemning Russia for the invasion.
Maria, great to talk to you. We'll have the exit poll, as you say, in just over an hour and a half. Special programme here on France 24. Maria will be here, a panel of guests, expert contributors as well, on all three big elections taking place in Europe. Maria, thank you for now.